So next is a very interesting topic, partner. So there are three types of life partners, if I can categorize. Like one who thinks like, okay, only they were delivered to the earth, the women were thrown from the sky. That's all. They don't have any any pain. The other one, like stereotyping, saying like, I've not seen anyone undergoing this kind of drama. Only you are doing this every time there's a pain. And the third, overprotective. Oh, you walked yesterday for 5 kilometers. That's why. Oh, you are doing a lot of workout. That's why this is happening. So these three types of partners. And my question comes now. How can women communicate their emotional and physical needs effectively with their partners during transitions? And how can partners support each other through hormonal fluctuations without feeling disconnected? Because during these fluctuations is the transition is the partners feel a bit left out, and they're not able to understand, and they fit themselves into one of these categories and try to give all wrong suggestions. So what's your take on that, Usha?
Good one. Another good one, Devi. Thank you for asking this question because I think it's so important for all of you, all of us. We're all at that stage where we're going through all of this. And I mean, these all of us go through these hormonal fluctuations, right? It's not just at a certain age. It begins. I mean, for women especially, we are going through this right from our teens. So it's important that we lay the foundation of how we tackle this, the changes and the effects of the changes from as early age as possible. You know, as early the earlier you get the awareness around it, the better. So you mentioned three kinds of people,
My
and
own
I think
my own
at least
categorization.
two of them will fit the defensive question that we addressed earlier. So again, simply put, you have to just try replacing that with curiosity. But another way, another to answer that question, communication is key, and it's really as simple as communication. I mean, I know it's such a buzzword. Communication is such a buzzword, and it's been overused. Probably it's so overused that we're all now immune to it. Ha, communication, baat kar liya. You know, we've talked. So it's much more than that. Communication is much more than that. One has to first of all communicate with oneself. We have to know what are the changes that we are going through. So you have to tune into yourself in order to understand that before you can even communicate it to your partner, whoever, one of the three or even beyond the three. uh, First understand what are the changes. So we have to have the practice where we practice this silence and connecting with our inner self, and sort of have a check-in that, okay, what's happening, what are the changes, and recognizing the changes over time, that okay, this is how it was a few years ago, this is how it is now, this is what I'm reading. And once you recognize these changes, and you then obviously one is curious about what are these changes about. So you, in order to satisfy that curiosity, one reads more about it. And and once you are equipped with the knowledge of what is causing these changes, these hormonal changes, these fluctuations, then there is a certain detachment that comes in, that you understand that it is the biological thing that's happening. It's not me. It's not
Right,
Usha is
right.
not reacting like that. It is, I know, for the other person whom we are conversing with, it is Usha. But it is actually especially when you recognize, the specific instances where one has reacted in a certain way, or at a specific time. So you recognize that could be the biological change that is,
It's happening,
making
right?
one talk that way. So once you
That's
recognize
a
that for
good
yourself,
caveat, that's a good caveat. It's not me. I was not angry with you. That the biological thing inside was angry with you.
that is
It's not
that's
me at
well put,
all.
Devi. I don't know if I would use the word caveat, because caveat is, it's like an easy one to get away with, and it sort of
Right.
reduces the accountability that one has for oneself. So one has to find that balance where you can't, so but at least to our partners, with our partners, spouses specifically, we have to communicate what's happening, and we have to communicate it biologically, scientifically. It
Perfect.
has to be spoken about. This is
Right.
something that, I mean, I'm so glad to see that these things are changing so fast. People are freely and openly now talking about menopause.
Right.
But there was a time not very long ago when, if you even said menopause, people would be, huh? What's that? Even women wouldn't really. They may be familiar with the word,
It was
but
a
not
taboo.
the,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Yes.
not what's behind that. So one is to scientifically understand what's happening within yourself, and to also make your partner understand, to also share that with your partner. And one very, very important thing that we need to keep in mind here, this is a women's forum, is that men also undergo changes.
Oh,
Men
okay.
also, yeah, they also undergo hormonal changes. So the kindness that we show to ourselves when we are reading about the hormonal changes, we have to show it to them as well. So once that kindness is shown, I think, it leads to more, it leads further to more kindness. So yeah, this is basically what it is, to understand oneself, to detach in a scientific way, and then communicate that to the partner, communicate what are the changes, what it is leading to, and what you want from your partner in very clear terms. One should not assume that the partner knows or just needs to understand or just needs to pick up from the air as to what they need to do to make you feel more comfortable or to understand you. So, in order to do all this, one has to give time to oneself as well as to having that conversation with the partner on a regular basis.
Right. Right. That's very important. I understand. In fact, I wanted to ask this question now. Not many, like no, now there are 20s, 30s, 40s. Not many have their this kind of awareness who are right now in 40s and 50s. They suddenly put into, as you're saying, the awareness of menopause is only coming now. They suddenly put into this and they themselves are realizing, okay, what's happening. Given that, like how one can tap their spiritual and emotional intelligence to strengthen the relationship during this hormonal shifts. You did touch upon the emotional a little bit, like about in the previous questions, how you can speak to yourself and how you can convert difference to curiosity. What more you can add to that, Usha?
Uh, so what more you can add to that is, see, one needs to have a proper routine of doing things, in the sense of meditation, which, I mean, we just went through a guided meditation that Vasu conducted at the beginning of the session, which was so wonderful. So one needs to have that practice on a regular basis, meditation, then a check in with yourself, where you're sort of asking each part of your body, are you okay? What's going on? And by body, I just don't mean the arms and really inside, even your heart. What's going on? Have a regular check in and sort of have a conversation with your body. And so these are somatic practices that we can develop. There are so many other techniques, like EFT is one, emotional. I don't know how many of you are familiar with it. You can explore it. Do read up or do find out more about it and see if that's something that you want to do. There is EFT, there is dance, there's music. Uh, so many of these modalities which will help you connect with yourself and understand yourself better. So uh, so these are some, this is one. And then, of course, there's no substitute for good diet and exercise. There's absolutely no, I mean, can you tell me another way? There really isn't. There really isn't. And the earlier one starts this, the better. And as women and as mothers,
Right.
it is our responsibility to pass this on to our daughters and sons as well. And sons as well. Why leave them out? So this, the responsibility
Right.
of um, being on a good diet, healthy diet, and being regular with your exercise and being physically fit. So this mind body connection, and of course, to nourish yourself both spiritually and emotionally.
Oh, right. Uh, okay, so
Let
I
it
was
let
asked,
this be the last one, then we can open it for the audience.
sure. So I was asking, like, no, we were spending our entire lives prioritizing women and family and children, and when we have suddenly time for ourselves in the 50s or earlier than that, like no. what can we do to flourish at this stage of life?
So actually, the 50s can be a really, really golden period for women because one they're done with the really core responsibility of bringing up their children. Though most of us in our 50s also have the responsibility of taking care of our elderly parents. Um, and that can be an enjoyable experience as well, a different and enjoyable experience. And one when one is taking care of elderly parents, one needs to it becomes all the more important to be able to draw boundaries and to be able to practice self-care. So because that can be very intense experience as well. So in our 50s, how we can find one is that again, the earlier you start, the better, where you develop skills, you develop, even if I'm not saying if, like you said, those who have a career, those who don't have a career, you still develop skills which will help you connect with yourself later on. So one is that in your 50s, when you find yourself in this situation, ask yourself what is it that you truly want. Use the coaching. I mean, there are multiple ways to do it. One is to use the coaching space. Two is to have this conversation with a very trusted friend, a support group. Or three is through journaling. So it depends on what one is comfortable with. And through these processes, one or multiple, more than one, understand what really it is that you want to achieve. You have the rest of your life now. What do you want to achieve what do you want to do with yourself? How would you want to spend the rest of your life? And the values exercise is very important. Understand your values, because one till the 50s, one is just busy, one is working, one is managing the kids, one is managing yourself, and it's you're just going and like sort of running through things. So 50s is the time when you can take that, pause and reflect on yourself, on what are your values right now, and make a plan for yourself which is aligned to those values. So once you do that, um, once you have a plan, or once you understand what it is that gives you, ask yourself what gives you joy. What are the spaces that made you sad? It's important to know both, where you felt negatively or where you felt positively. Understand these things about yourself. And yeah, absolutely, whatever give it's very important to know what gives you joy, so that you can sort of narrow into that, and expand on that, and do more of that in your coming years. And maybe convert that into a skill, or convert that into something that you want to do, where you can. And if it is something that contributes to the larger good, that's
Even
even
more good.
that's even
Yeah,
better. Exactly.
right.
So that is something that we have to identify. That work we have to put in when we find ourselves at that stage. And we have so one is the through values, through understanding what your values are, and understand how you can align with those values through these any of these processes. And to this is a good time to again, the word somatic keeps coming up, because I really believe in that. Through do some somatic work. Ask your body has a lot of answers which your mind may not, or your mind may be
Got
sort
it.
of suppressing. So once we ask our body, once we connect with our body, we will know what it is that we really want, where what gives us joy, and do more of that. So this is a good time to enjoy, actually. Of course, there are challenges. The hormonal changes are challenging. Those are and I'm sure that there'll be people. I mean, people would be facing other challenges, but but if I mean, considering all that, if we are still able to connect with ourselves and do that and understand what we would like to do, I think it's a golden period.
I agree. Totally. So it's nice interacting with you, Usha. And message to audience: not every Friday evening you get to speak with a coach. So put your questions and your golden chance now. So ask her the questions. I now hand it over to Vasu to take the audience questions, Usha. Thanks for joining us once again, and it was wonderful to have conversation with you.
Thank you, Devi. Thank you for your questions. Very insightful questions, and I enjoyed answering them.